Hi, today we are going to make the rice bread recipe that's actually built off of the 10-minute French bread recipe. So once you've mastered 10-minute French bread, you're on to making this awesome rice bread. So, first we're going to add a little yeast, like a tablespoon, to some warm water. All you got to do is test it with your finger, get a little water in there, set it aside, and then the rice part. This is what's different. We're going to fill up a pot with about 4 cups of water. Doesn't matter since the idea is to get rice mush. So don't worry about the fact that it's not white and fluffy, the sort of thing you serve with a Chinese meal. So we're going to add a cup of just long grain white rice to 4 cups of water and let it boil. And that takes about half an hour to actually boil down to mush. So in the meantime, we're going to add our other dry ingredients here, which are just flour and salt. I'm going to count out 8 cups. This is going to be a bigger recipe than the 2-loaf French bread recipe we did before. We are able to make 4 loaves of rice bread with this recipe. So we're actually going to add a tablespoon of salt to the flour. So it's 8 cups of flour, a tablespoon of salt there, and a tablespoon of salt in the rice. Then we'll mix all the ingredients with the yeast when we come back in half an hour. Okay, we're ready to go to the next step. We've been boiling the rice about half an hour, and you can see it's just kind of mushy, and I'm using something to beat it, mush it a little bit more. It's quite hot, so that's going to be the trick, is to make sure that you can cool the dough mixture down before you add the yeast, or you'll kill the yeast. So I'm just going to add the mushy rice mixture. Okay, that's done with the pan. Now I'm going to start with some cold water to cool off that rice. And of course the flour is helping to cool off the rice too. It's warm, but not hot. So I can add the yeast mixture. See how nice and bubbly the yeast got. There's more water in here, so it's going to get even wetter. And just scrape the rest out. And we start really working it. This is where you kind of have to decide whether you're going to add more water or not. Pull them together. I got a tad more right up here. And that should be enough. So you can see when they say when the dough pulls away from the sides of the bowl, in most recipes, that's exactly what we have here. You have to be pretty strong to do 8 cups of flour and a cup of wheat like this. Then we're going to dip it out onto the board. So first we've got to extract our spoon from this mess. This is a very sticky dough because of that rice, so your hands are going to get messy. And we do our first kneading. At the same time I'm going to be filling up that bowl with water because I'm going to knead it, and then in the interest of efficiency I'm going to clean the bowl while the dough rests. And I'll knead it a little bit more and put it in the bowl. If we bake it, it's going to be a wet bread. Get more on my hands. Just a folding process, folding it in on itself, stretching the outside skin, which forms the gluten. Okay, now it's gotten to the point where you can knead it for 5 minutes, or you just let it sit like this while you wash the bowl. Okay, the bowl's nice and clean, dry it out. Flour won't stick to it then. And then, since it took a couple minutes, the bread's been relaxing, so I'm going to give it a little bit more kneading. Now you can feel right away that something's going on there because it's much more elastic dough feeling. And you just knead for a few more seconds to going here? There. So, now we put it in the bowl. Same one you mixed it in. Covered up with the modern invention, the plastic grocery bag, which is the secret to a good bread rice. And it's a warm day here in Michigan, so it'll probably be an hour and a half, and this will more than double in bulk, and we'll come back and form it into loaves. Okay, it's been an hour and a half, and we are going to prep our pans. A little olive oil, spray on them, some sticking. We're actually, because we have so much dough with 8 cups, we're going to make 2 loaves of bread, and then a bunch of rolls, because rice bread as rolls is really good. Makes great sandwiches. People love it. We serve it every year at Thanksgiving. So look at what our bread has done. I could say that's doubled in bulk. It's probably quadrupled in bulk. And you see how wet it's going to be when I pull this out. So I'm going to get my hands very floury, and the board, countertop, very floury. Put a little on there so it doesn't stick as it comes out. And then you just kind of scrape it out with your hand. You know you're going to have good bread right now, because there isn't so much. It feels just right. And it really doesn't take much kneading now, because it gets firm very, very quickly. Okay, now we're going to start dividing it using a pastry knife. That way you don't scratch the countertop if you're working on the countertop. Set that aside, because that's going to be the rolls. Actually, that one is smaller, so it'll be the rolls. This one we'll cut in half into 2 loaves. And then we simply form them into loaves. A couple times, form it into a ball first. It sits there while you do the other one. Working with bread, you switch back and forth, alternate between the pieces of dough. You're going to relax in between. And now, we're going to start folding in on itself to form a loaf. Because this is in a pan, we don't have to do so much forming as you do a French bread. We're going to sit in the pan like that. When it's over the top, we can put it in the oven. I'm going to form the next one. Same process, just folding it in on itself. Brush it off a little. Put it in. Now, kind of judge how many rolls you have. This is probably going to make good 12 rolls. So just start dividing things up. I've got 4. Divide each of these into 3. In a professional bakery, they'd be throwing this on a scale, make sure everyone's the right size, but we don't have to do that because we're just going to eat these. Now watch this process where you just fold over everything, kind of pull it up into a ball. Okay, that is a dozen rice bread rolls. We're going to let them sit for, it'll probably take another hour and a half today, and then we'll put them in the oven. Okay, it's been a little over an hour, and look at those rolls. They've more than doubled in size. We're going to pop them in the oven, which has been preheated to 400, but we're going to leave it at 350. Want it extra warm to start with stuff. And it'll take about 25 minutes probably to cook. Okay, we're ready to go. I think I smell some bread in the oven. There we have rice bread rolls. So just dump out here. And the full loaf of rice bread. Ooh, look at that. Let's see what we got here. That seems pretty crunchy. Want some butter on it. Scrumptious.